Hi again, it's Sally with Stories from Sally, and I hope you joined me for the last one, in which I introduced Tanishka, the Moon Woman, who has written a most amazing book called, it's quite a tome, but so worth reading, The Grail, The Lies, the Truth, the Answers. So that's the cover of the book, and it really, really is so worthwhile reading. If you saw the first broadcast, we talked about reclaiming the feminine, reclaiming our rights for women, and I mean R-I-T-E-S, not R-I-G-H-T-S. My next little reading is going to be, Will Religion or the Government Save Us? And this caught my interest because I do feel at the moment we are being pulled in two directions. If you like, our souls and our hearts are being wrenched. We are being asked to either choose religion or government. They're both vying for our attention. They both want our souls. So let me read out the passage and then I'll pass you over to Tanishka again. Will religion or the government save us? No, let's face it, the whole system is corrupt to the core, like Wall Street and the Big Apple. So while the circus of debate continues like background music on the deck of the Titanic, it's inevitable our modern civilization must fall. Why? Our modern society is based on the values of ancient Rome. Even the architecture of state buildings replicates those of ancient Rome. Similarly, just as the Roman Empire fell due to its arrogance, acted out as an insatiable, ego-driven appetite for status, glory, power and wealth to prove its power and dominion, so too our modern world is destined to meet the same fate. Please take note of that. It is crumbling due to its corrupt foundations, destabilizing every aspect of life as we know it. This is why everyone who's trying to hold it together is literally cracking up under the strain. The question is, will our group mind transform by embracing our collective breakdown as an opportunity for a breakthrough, or will we, as an unconscious collective, take everyone and everything down with us? This depends on one thing, whether we humble our egos and mature. I'm going to pass you over to Tanishka now for her take on why she wrote that passage and what it meant for her.
Yeah, well, thank you. So, it used to be that, in the Middle Ages, that the church was really running the show and people were abdicating their personal power to the church and behaving like children out of fear of what would happen to them in the afterlife. But, then it became more about governments, and today our governments are really at the mercy of the lobbyists that represent multinational corporations. And then, of course, we have the shadow government. Those that are actually in power are merely puppets, which I think was best summed up on the wonderful British comedy show Yes Minister.
Oh yes,
right?
Yes, lovely programme.
Right. So, I think most people in the world know there's a lot wrong with the world and nobody quite knows how to fix it. So there's this sense of, I'm trying to think of the name of the musician. Oh gosh, menopause, bless him. Keep waiting on the world to change. I can't think of his name. But there's this sense of everybody's waiting, hoping something's going to change. But, you know, whether it's waiting for Jesus or waiting for Superman or waiting for the government.
Waiting for
no
an
one's
outsider.
Coming.
No, exactly.
You know, because the nature of the initiation is that we have to metamorphosize and remember who we are and take back our power. So long as we keep kowtowing and abdicating to some authority that we perceive outside of ourselves, be it the church, the government, you know, whatever, then we're not getting it. We're behaving like scared children.
Yeah.
And that leaves us open to manipulation with those that would prey upon our fears, as we saw in 2020. So, you know, I think the key is initiation, because that is what matures the psyche. When I ended that passage with the difference between those two trajectories will be whether or not we humble our soul, humble our ego, to become soul dominant. In the ancient world, that was done with initiating people through a second birth. You know, the idea of the born-again Christian is an appropriation of what in earlier times in mysticism was called, you know, the second birth.
Yes.
And it was midwife traditionally by mystic women, where you would have a breakdown, but a breakthrough. In other words, it's inevitable that we get to a point where we're disillusioned with the choices that we've made, which have not made us happy. You know, especially if we've tried to live up to the ideals that we thought were sold to us as the path to happiness.
Yeah.
So there comes a day of reckoning with ourselves, and now we're all coming to that collectively with this kind of judgment day as we enter the gates of the Aquarian age, and we're looking at ourselves as a humanity, as a collective species, saying, is this who we are? Is this what we stand for? Is this what we want? And, you know, really, I think the majority don't. So rather than us try and hold this civilization together, we need to let it fall. Even though it's scary, because we've grown up with this way of doing things, i.e. everything is transactionary. Yeah, you need money to do everything. And so, you know, I've certainly experienced in the last few years, as we get closer to shifting into this age of light, that money, it seems to be more evasive than ever before. I mean, we have the globalists upping up inflation at a rapid rate to create this pressure cooker situation so that people are vulnerable and will
create greater fear, actually.
Absolutely, because if people are so in survival fear, they'll do anything to alleviate it, and they can't think straight.
No.
So, you know,
and that's when we give away our power.
Absolutely. So we're living in very auspicious times. Our choices matter, and the Grail, that tradition, was all about educating people to make wise choices on the understanding that every choice is a crossroads, and the crossroads are sacred. That's why the cross was sacred, you know. So we need to respond and not react, and make choices from a centered place, i.e. from the heart, not from the solar plexus, from duality, from rational fears, or from, you know, further down, from being caught up in drama and emotional or you know, survival fears. So the biggest challenge at the moment is simply to be in the heart, to be centered. And if people can do that, then even though things may seem chaotic and out of control, we can maintain dignity for ourselves and
a
each
sense
other.
of equilibrium.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to call a halt there, and I'm going to leave you and tell you that we will be reading another passage, and I hope you'll join us yet again. So take care, lots of love, bye.